Welcome to another edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline. We're live in the studio. You're watching us on Verizon 32 and Comcast 7 in Bethel Park. And we appreciate all the likes on Pittsburgh Sportsline on Facebook. I think we hit 542, so thanks everybody. Appreciate it. Thanks for watching our show. We're here in all kind of different places out in the country, in the city, all around the Pittsburgh area. So keep tuning in. We'll provide you with a lot of, I guess, great sports, guys. I don't know. Sometimes a little controversial, maybe nonsensical at times. Look that one up, Smoking Jim. But we'll go there. And another great day of sports in Pittsburgh, and we're going to start covering that right now. We do our What's on Our Mind. I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. We got Chip the Prophet Hayner, Smoking Jim Frazier, and Little Z's there still. He was supposed to miss out, folks. Don Campiti, we know you're watching, and Mrs. Campiti, Little Z's here in the house. And that's Zach Brenner, for everybody that doesn't know, and he got Mini-Me Z, who's going to fill in for him. And hold it, I have a special thing here, because I thought he wasn't going to show up. And Chris, this is Tempe Moore sketch work of Little Z. Look at that. I can even pull a hair out of his beard. All right, we better get serious. We're going to talk about what's on our mind. Zach Brenner, what's on your mind?
Well, I got two things, Al Levine, that are on my mind tonight. The first thing is I want to touch a little bit on the Steelers. I'm not feeling as good as I felt a couple weeks ago about the Steelers, as we're in through 3 preseason games, and I feel even worse than I felt at the end of last season. So what it basically comes down to is I'm calling out Mike Tomlin. I'm calling out the front office. Like, it's time to start making some real moves. They haven't really been evaluating talent very well since about 2006, 2005. Their drafts have been terrible. From the 2008 draft, there isn't a single player still on the team, and that's just disconcerting to me when you're just not evaluating talent really very well. So I don't know who that comes down to, if Colbert in the front office or if that's Mike Tomlin or the combination of them. But I know that Colbert and Bill Cowher brought in some of the best players that we've had in a long time since the late 70s. So that's the first thing that's on my mind. The second thing that's on my mind is the Pirates just acquired a gentleman that was banned from baseball for using performance-enhancing drugs.
Yes! They're finally with the rest of the league.
So they're taking Al Levine's advice. They're taking Al Levine's advice. The man has 21 home runs and 71 RBIs through this season from the Mets, who are, I guess, they're imploding and having a fire sale since one of their star pitchers tore his elbow. So that's not all. They picked up a catcher, too, and I thought that was
the buck stops here.
I thought that was a little bit interesting, too, but I'm just real happy and interested that the Pirates went out there and did something to at least try to – we know they're going to break the curse and the streak, so you heard it right here, folks.
Man, that dollar – not yet, Chip, not yet. I'm with you.
It's getting there.
We'll delve a little more in depth into the Pirates in this.
In our segment.
And that was John Buck. The catcher was John Buck and Marlon Bird.
Harry Truman said the buck stops here.
So since Morte's hurt and since we're not getting a lot of production out of the outfield.
And they're not done yet.
Okay. We'll see what else. 2 points?
Well, and the third point, you're just going to have to stay tuned until we get to the boxing segment. We got a big announcement here to make, so stay tuned for that, folks. And that's all that's on my mind, Al Levine.
Whoa. I better put the boxing up top there, because I was going to pencil it in. But if this is a big announcement, folks, big. Okay. Thanks, Z. I appreciate it. I'm going to miss you. Oh, man. Hey, I got to interrupt this show, and we need Chris to get a little close-up on this. And I didn't read it that well, but he has to go to get his master plumber certificate.
Wow.
And how many weeks is that, Z?
It's going to be about 12 weeks.
12 weeks. And
It took 4 years.
All we're asking is the patriarch of the Costa family to give little Z a little break so he could be on our show for an hour.
I'm not calling him master.
And we're going to go right now to What's on Your Mind, Smoking Jim Frazier.
Hey, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green, you got to see Levine. Hey, in honor of, first of all, I want to thank all of our good friends Kelly Roberts, for bringing double chocolate cupcakes. And
Did you say double chocolate?
Double chocolate. And I really don't like chocolate, but I love her chocolate cupcakes. And it's in honor of Devin Shea's birthday. So everybody grab your double chocolate and then bite in.
That's Kelly Irish Roberts.
Kelly Irish Roberts. And also, in Chris, if you can get a close-up, we were honored last night to have on the show supermodel and law student.
Not too close, Chris.
Yeah, law student.
It's a family show still, buddy, and you're an excellent cameraman.
Erica Stevenson, and she gave me an autographed magazine.
You missed out on that chocolate. I'm disappointed.
Last night. But what's on my mind is actually in the newspaper article that I wrote this week. You guys can pick that up in the New Pittsburgh Courier. Is I did my top terrific 25 seniors in the WPIAL, and to a surprise of a lot of people, I had 5 of the top 25 from Gateway. And also, something that may not surprise a whole lot of people is that Lynn Swan's son is the #1 receiver for Central Catholic, so that's a big shock. Lynn Swan got a son that can catch the football, and his name is Schaefer Swan, named after his mother's maiden name, or Lynn Swan's wife, Charina Schaefer, maiden name, is a dear friend of mine, great former model, was the first black homecoming queen of my college. And also, a little tip for Spotlight Player of the Week. I'm predicting he'll break this season all of RG3's, who's an opera singer, me, RG3. He'll break all of his single-season passing records at Baylor. A guy by the name of Bryce Petty, 6'3", 230 pounds. So if you guys want to make some money, put your bets on Bryce Petty this year. But I just want to go over my top 5 WPIAL teams
Take your
this
time,
year.
Smoking Jim, because these are delicious.
Oh, thank you, sir. In Class A classification, I'll go to Double A first. Double A, I got Aliquippa winning it all, followed by Wash High, Shadyside Academy with Dennis Briggs, a friend of the show,
Yes.
South Fayette and Beaver Falls. In Triple A, I got Thomas Jefferson making a return back to the championship. West Allegheny's going to be awfully tough. I love Newcastle. West Mifflin in Central Valley. In Quad A, I got Gateway winning it all, followed by Woodland Hills, North Allegheny, and Central Catholic. And McKeesport makes a return with their coach coming back, George Smith. And in Class A classification, I have Stowe Rocks winning it all, followed by North Catholic, Rochester. Clairton drops to 4th, and Neshammock. And that's what's on my mind.
So, just so that I can clarify there, are you inferring that Clairton is going to lose its first game in 5 years?
Yes, sir. That's 63. Yes, sir.
Well, thanks, Smoking Jim. We appreciate your insights. And check out his column. I'll be posting it up wherever I can.
We're allowed to get it now.
I will make one prediction for Clairton, and I hate giving any credit to Clairton, but they have a freshman running back named Lamont Wade that will go down in history as maybe the greatest running back to ever come through the WPIL. So keep an eye on Lamont Wade from Clairton.
As a freshman.
He's a freshman this year.
We'll have to revisit some of this stuff so then you can visit Clairton. He did say a good word about Clairton, folks. All you people watching out there, we're going to revisit.
He's allowed in Clairton with me.
And speaking of Clairton, give me a double chocolate.
Okay. Hey, thanks for you guys extending your little segments there, because I enjoyed my cupcake. I only bit one finger. Thank you. All right, Chip the Prophet Hayner, what's on your mind?
Thank you, Alan. And it's quite a bit of interesting sports news has happened, especially in the last 24 hours. And Zach touched on some of the stuff with the Pirates, and we're going to get into that a little later on in the show. And we've had Steelers are revving up for their final preseason game, and I do believe this is the 13th year in a row that they've played the Carolina Panthers in their fourth preseason game.
Yeah.
So, we're looking forward to the ongoings there. I hope Coach Tomlin has enough sense to keep Troy, Ben, Lamar Woodley, Antonio Brown, Emmanuel Sanders out of the lineup. We don't really need to have anybody else on the injury report. And that leads to what's on my mind tonight. And what's on my mind tonight is the rash of injuries that are going on widespread through the NFL. With the last collective bargaining agreement, Roger Goodell and his, in the interest of trying to make the game safer for the players, and I put quotations around that. And the reason he's doing this, and then Jim and I have had this conversation off the air, is it's a greed thing. He wants 18-game regular season, and the players absolutely do not want the 18-game season because they're not going to be getting paid any more money. They're going to be putting their bodies more at risk. Subsequently, more players will get hurt. But with the new collective bargaining agreement, that has limited the amount of practices that they have. It limits the amount of contact that they can have in the practices, and then they get every Tuesday off. Whoever heard of football players getting a day off in training camp?
Right.
I mean, the whole purpose of training camp was to whip them into shape for the season. And and you're looking across the NFL, and the Steelers have gotten bit by it, but more so some of the other teams and some of the high-profile athletes that are getting hurt. They're tearing their ACLs, their MCLs, their PCLs. There's just such a rash of season-ending injuries to a lot of people. And I'm just wondering if by not allowing them to practice it much, are they putting these players more at risk? Because when they practiced more and they hit more, it seemed like there were less injuries. And I believe football is a game where, you definitely have to condition yourself to be hit. It's not a game that you can sit there and go in the weight room and run around in shorts and play, patty cake, and then be expected to play a violent sport and be able to do that. So I really think that, they're in the interest of trying to make the game safer for the players. I think they've made it even a greater risk for them, which, I think is going to show up later on down the line because players are going to be demanding more money for less because, their careers, as it stands, what's an average NFL career? About 2.5 years?
About 3 at the most.
And so, they're going to want to make as much money as they can. So, Roger Goodell and DeMaurice Smith, I think you both did, both of your organizations, an injustice with this collective bargaining agreement. And that's what's on my mind.
Thanks, Chip. Appreciate it.
So true.
One of the things I want to start out with, I know this was last week because we were there, in case anybody wants to know, but there will be another event. They're working on the date and the time, sometime in October, towards the end. They're going to come up with something there. And that was the Pittsburgh Pride Boxing Show. Jose, the Puerto Rican Prince Carabello, what a performance that he put on and organized that. He had help with Howard Swimmer, with HRS Management. They put on quite a show. We were there. Little Z was there as a spectator, and I know he enjoyed the show, some of the show. There were a couple moments that he had, but we can talk about that later. But it was just a great event. I was honored to be able to be a ring announcer. Thank you.
And an all-around entertainer and good egg.
So they say. So they say. But Smoking Jim on his insights, you have to listen to it when we come out with the video. Dan Buckley, shout out to you and your son Danny. They put a video.
Favorite.
They put a video out there that I posted, and it's a great fight. You get a few moments of seeing us out there, but we'll have much more. This will probably be out in a couple weeks. Dave Cable, thanks again for doing all the editing and the graphic work on there. He showed me some of the graphics that he's going to put on there. It's just going to be great. Yeah, this was professionally done, And
I'm sure that will show up on some other TV stations as well.
Well, it will. And then the Aaron Jensen, if you want to get a close-up there, give our man a call as it gets cooler and you want to go indoors and do simulcasting golf. They'll get 80 courses for you to play on, reasonable rates. He'll even fix your swing. So we're trying to help him a little bit. He was a great guest on our show, and we appreciate all that he's doing in the community. And then what's on my mind, of course, is Pirates, Steelers, and Go Riverhounds. If you've noticed on Pittsburgh Sportsline, I put a lot of the Riverhounds. It was their inaugural season in Highmark. They had some success, but they lost their first playoff game. There's some great players and athletes that were players of the week. If you follow the Riverhounds, they do a lot in the community with fundraising. So check them out. They also help a lot of young folks here in the area, girls and boys, with soccer, and it's getting much bigger even in the United States. So that's what's on my mind.
Shout out to the Riverhounds.
Go Hounds. Rarely do you hear about soccer in Pittsburgh, so got to give them a little shout out. Then another shout out. We met a lot of boxers, and the Pittsburgh Kid was there. Shout out to the Pittsburgh Kid, Paul Spadafora. And then hold it, wait, I was saying the 5-time champ, Verquan Kimbrough. He was in the house, but he was with 2 passion football players. And Sierra was one, and I forget the other lady's name.
Did they come to the show Monday?
No, they did not come to the show, but they have an open invite. They're all welcome there because we always support the local teams here. And that's it for my promos now. We're going to revisit whatever was going on in the first segment. I want to touch again on CBAs with my man Chip here. It's a compromise. And when you're compromising with something that's not that good to begin with, like how you divvy up preseason and time off, this is what you get. You shouldn't have a compromise like that when you're trying to say you're protecting their health and you're lying. So that's one of the problems I have with the CBA.
Yeah,
Neither side. Put them in a bubble.
Well, here's what I think you should do. I've negotiated a couple times, Chief. You could explain to the guys next time you're out there. But sometimes you just lock the doors. You have a couple drinks there, whether it's water or whatever else, and some food, and then see them 12 hours, 18 hours later, see if they can come up with something, or see who walks out. Because if the winner walks out and the other guys don't, you got a contract. But sometimes you have to put these guys in a position where they have to make a decision.
Well, what about robots? We could have robots play each other because then a human doesn't have to worry about getting hurt. Because it's one of the few sports in the world that you're really go watch a rugby game and tell me how compensated those guys are. Tell me how compensated those guys are.
But I mean,
go watch a soccer game.
You think about the game of football.
Basketball.
Football is a violent sport, and it was meant to be a violent sport. And the reason it is so popular is it's a violent sport. And really, when you think about it, you think back to Roman times when the gladiators would fight in the Colosseum, and people were come there. They didn't come there because they wanted to see guys hold hands. They wanted to see violence, and this is as close as we've got to it. And I don't care. You could. You can't wait. What is that saying? You can't make a silk purse out of a pig's ear.
A sow's ear.
I mean, it just can't be done. And I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to make this seem like a kindler and gentler game. And then you got coaches that are saying, "Kill the quarterback."
Well, I got to interrupt you. They're not trying to make it kinder because these guys are still trying to kill people. They're getting bigger.
You don't think it's the safest it's ever been since the game was created and started? They were playing with leather helmets. They were playing without helmets. They were playing without face masks. They were playing without pads for all intents and purposes. They just had a
but here's the problem. They have some enhanced guys here, and nutrition is definitely better, and vitamins are better.
More people getting injured now than got injured when they played with less equipment.
You know what? I think that's just the case of the guys back then were tough as steel, and they gutted it up and they just dealt with it, and they paid for it in their 70s, 80s,
and their 40s. A lot of these guys, they say they're punch drunk. What do you think that was? Too many concussions.
Well, see, the whole thing is, I always said that the football players are a piece of meat. And when you look at it like that, I would still have AstroTurf fields on there, concrete, they're a piece of meats. Listen, like Lil Z said, even when you look at boxers, these guys, you look at old fights, you hit these guys with 200 punches and they didn't go down. They just had heart. Now when you hit a guy once in the body and he's flip-flopping, or you got Jarvis Jones gets the wind knocked out of him, he goes out with a stretcher.
He landed on the football.
Yeah, he gets so. I've never seen somebody get life flighted out, get wind knocked out of him. But, the whole thing is, and you look at a guy like a Rocky Blyer, and I mentioned this yesterday, this guy was in the explosion in Vietnam. Lost half his foot, never missed a football game. Now guys with turf toe and foot injuries are missing. Jim Brown never missed a game. Walter Payton never did. No, Tony Dorsett never missed a game. They had heart.
Should not walk around with a Steeler jersey on because you didn't earn that jersey yet, young man. Just because you got drafted at the podium, you have done absolutely nothing to warrant anything right now at this point or this juncture.
But to mention something about what Chip had mentioned, I felt bad last year. Speaking of Carolina, I got a hold of 8 Steeler tickets last year, the most I ever did. And I tell you what, the brothers and sisters was coming out of the woodwork because they wanted to see Cam Newton. Right. And 2 things happened in the last preseason game. One, the starters don't play that much if they play at all, and I tried to explain that to them as I sold inflated tickets. And 2, I says the one thing that you know about brothers and sisters, we set our watches to CP time. So I got so much backlash because not only did they get to the stadium late, but Cam Newton didn't play at all. And so they came there to see Cam Newton, and all they seen him was with a towel around his neck on the sideline. So I made a lot of money off of those tickets, but I really felt bad because nobody was able to see Cam Newton.
Well, you do have a heart, buddy. You're a good man. And thanks for sharing your cupcakes. Because Batman left so quick last night, I was looking at just one, eyeing it up, and that's all I needed. So thank you very much.
Stevenson for that Nancy B's cookie too, that I ate on the way.
How did you get? You got a cookie. I was eyeing up those 2 monster cookies there.
Well, she gave me the cookie, and I looked at it, and I was like, "This is a Nancy B's cookie." And she's like, "How do you know?" I was like, "That's where I'm from." What do you mean? How do I know?
Where are you from? Because some people forget that.
I'm from Upper St. Homestead.
Okay.
Wow.
Just checking.
And I tell you what, Kamikaze Kid, man, I love you to death, man, but you come into my neighborhood with a Florida State shirt on right now, man, you're in trouble, brother.
It's your colors. And it's still Valley colors?
No, I don't care what colors it is, man.
Hey, what kind of towel is that over there?
Hell to Pitt. Hell to Still Valley.
That's not FSU.
And I had another interesting question to bring up since Smoking Jim had his little rankings there.
And I didn't have Still Valley in my top 50.
Bingo.
That's all right. You had Clareton, so you got half of it right. Not the
Only
same
at
thing.
4th.
But my thing is, I was looking at Pitt's roster, and how many Gateway players do we? I think we have more Still Valley and Clareton guys than we have Gateway guys on Pitt's roster. And Pitt is the best college in the city right now for football. Where else are you going to go? You're not going to Duquesne to play football. That's for sure.
We got 4 Gateway guys going next year to Temple. That's my team. That's the home team.
Really?
Temple. I think that's the best team in the state.
Now Coach Smith can recruit for real.
Yes.
Gateway's coach.
Yeah,
Terry's there.
Terry Smith, yeah.
And I can't say this. I know he wouldn't want me to say it on air, so I'm not going to say it on air. But as a receiver coach, he's making $150,000 a year, so he's doing very well.
So they helped him out. Really? Well, I think we covered the revisitation. We added the revisitation.
Coaching high school football doesn't pay, is what you're saying.
That's not true, man. That's not true.
You know what? We'll talk about this off air because I don't want to hear about condominiums. I don't want to hear about apartment buildings.
Tattoos.
I don't want to hear businesses and homes and everything else. We'll talk about that some other time. Let's go to, we did enough revisitation. Sips Sports Bar last night. We had a packed house there. It was just fantastic. People were showing up just to be there, so come on out. We had some great guests. We're not going to be there Labor Day. We are going to have a day off, guys, unless you want to go there. They're closed.
Go watch Pitt. Oh, they're closed on Labor Day?
That's what they said.
I was going to watch Pitt game.
Were you? Wow. You could have done the show by yourself. But they have all kind of specials there.
Come to Duke's Sports Bar down in Homestead.
Yeah.
Come on down.
We're on the Sip Sports Bar, 3024 West Liberty Avenue, 15216. They have trivia night every Sunday night. Pittsburgh Sportsline is there with humor like this and worse. Great guests, all kind of specials. They have drink specials. They have a happy hour 4 to 7. They got free parking. You name it, it's there. Tonight, they got Campidi's Pizza. Shout out to Don Campidi. He doesn't want us to mention his name, so he usually starts watching about quarter after, so he's definitely watching us now. Thanks again, Don, for everything you do. We appreciate it. Wednesday night is Smoking Jim $1 ladies drinks night, plus all the other specials there. Thursday night's a 25-cent wing night, great wings. Friday night entertainment, Saturday night entertainment. Just stop on out at Sip Sports Bar and check out some of the guests that we have. When you see our video, we did a record 13 guests we had. Matt Sedlak was a great guy, another guy from Homestead. come out. He's the announcer known as the Voice at BMX South Park. He brought the girls team out there, and they have so much trophies and medals. They're going to Louisville to try to pick up some more gold from Louisville. So imagine that. So it was just a great time.
Got a lot of Still Valley guys on microphones around here. Don't you get that? We got one Gateway guy, but I think we got more Still Valley guys than Gateway
Sure
guys
do.
on the microphone.
I'm a Bethel Park guy. I'm just happy to be here.
That's one. And we got a
And
Still
you
Valley
don't
guy in the
have
Hall
to
of
worry.
Fame.
I'm a Baldwin High School alum.
Hey,
and
I
we
tell you what,
haven't won
Baldwin's
anything.
High School looks like a college campus when
Yeah,
I drive by
it
that
does.
thing.
It's beautiful.
Holy smokes!
It's beautiful.
What kind of money
Well,
you
we're
guys got
talking
there?
high school Keystone Oaks, and our show's seen right in the hometown of Keystone Oaks, Dormont, Greentree, and Castle Shannon. None of them are together, folks. That's how they create it. And the high school's on Mount Lebanon turf, but it's Keystone Oaks, buddy. We'll have to get some guests from KO, get some coaches up there so they can defend the neighborhood. And that's on our SIP Sports Bar. Again, check us out there. Now we go to one of my favorite, Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And I tell you, it's tough getting past Erica's picture here. But you kind of stole my thunder. My Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac goes back to Saturday.
Whoa.
All the way back.
All the way back to Saturday. So proud of Al Levine, the talking machine. This guy is so good as a ring announcer that, so many people, including me, think that he's been doing it for years, and it was only his second time, and he was so good to bringing him back as a ring announcer by popular demand. But it was just great evening. You're talking about Kia Starr sung the national anthem. She rocked the house. It was the best
There was
anthem.
some technical difficulties too, and she hung with it too, like a champ.
She hung with
Yeah,
it.
she did.
And I tell you what, it was the best anthem I've heard since Whitney Houston sung it at the Super Bowl in 1995.
It was impressive.
And I tell you what, I can't say enough good things about Howard Swimmer. Excellent guy. He's totally a great business guy. He's a nice guy, man. And I tell you what, he is so connected with a lot of stars. The stars come out.
Tell them who come out. You're keeping us in suspense.
I am sure going to tell you. And got to get a shout out to the Puerto Rican Prince, Jose Carabella. Shout out to his sister, Darcy, who I call the body. And,
did I
was
call her the
definitely
Puerto Rican princess?
The Puerto Rican princess was there.
The body's funny.
Yeah. And I tell
Family
you,
show here, Z.
I tell you what, we had Paul Spatafora come out. Still got the love of the game for it. He's coaching fighters here. He's a world champion, undefeated fighter, and he's coaching these young kids along from the stands. We got Vaquan to show Kimbrough, but most important there was Master G. Now, I'm not even a guy that knows music, but I know Master G. Master G from the Sugar Hill Gang was there. Not only was he brought in the ring properly by Al Levine, the talking machine, but his rap song, Rapper's Delight. Remember that? Rapper's Delight is still the #1 selling rap song of all time, and he was there with a young tenderoni. She looked good too.
That's not before little Z gets stabbed or maimed. Rayco War Sanders was in the building too. So let's not forget Rayco was in the building.
Oh, we got nothing but love for Rayco. That's
We gotta
all.
make sure we
Rayco
mention
even
Rayco.
got the hand
Yeah,
out
that
of medal
medal
there,
for him,
so
man.
Rayco was up there, and all the boxers, they all represented well, Z.
And that's one of the things that's really nice about what's going on with the boxing scene is that they all support one another, even though, and one day they may end up becoming opponents in the ring.
And I tell you what, Rayco and Paul Spatafora took a picture together, and I don't know if they met in the big house, but the picture looked good together. And that's Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Well, hey, thank you for all the compliments. I don't handle that well, but thanks,
should.
buddy. I
You got
appreciate it.
You got Frank Mercury all worked up, man, saying there's not going to be too much work for him if you keep putting on performances like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did he? I didn't hear that, buddy.
Well, I'm telling you.
You shouldn't make up stuff like that, but
I don't laugh, folks.
I appreciate it. But thank you very much. It was a great time. We also had Valicia Ann showed up
That's right.
That's your
Wonder
biggest
Woman.
fan, guys. That's
from
Wonder Woman.
Bill Boyce Modeling and all the things that she does. She is doing different fundraisings. Check out her on Facebook. And she was there just impressed by all the boxing, made a lot of great new connections out there, too, that she was happy with.
I was able to pick her up at her house. She got a beautiful home, too.
And
Shaler.
Smoking Jim Frazier, for all of you guys, there's no offense meant, but he does have a jitney service. He's the only
Be
guy.
specific about the jitney service, sir. There's an exception.
Wait,
There's smaller print than Chip's trivia coming
Wait a
up
minute.
to the exception.
There's a disclaimer.
Exceptions do apply.
There's a disclaimer to Jim's jitney service. He does provide a jitney service. You may not make it to where you're going.
And you may also have to provide a service.
Well, no. Part of the other thing is there's only one exception to his service. I got picked up once, and he has all the beautiful women that drive with him. So just so you know, and thanks again, Smoking Jim. It was a great performance. He was great analyzing the fights and the performance he put on. He kept pulling guys up to sit in my seat there so I could work with the crowd a little bit. And we also need a shout out to Kayla, who was a first-time ring girl.
Oh,
she was excellent. She even had a fan club, I discovered, as she kept walking around. She was the only ring card girl, and she did every fight there, and we had 11 fights, so it was quite the performance there.
The crowd doing the wave for her when she was walking, man.
We had it going. Well, enough of all that. That was supposed to be fiction and fact. I think we might have put a little No, it's all fact.
Don't forget about your buddy Jimmy Savetic was there.
Well, I was trying to avoid him since, no, Jimmy Savetic he's
Jimmy
a legend.
Savetic, to sum it up, Jimmy Savetic is Jimmy Savetic.
And he even threw me a couple compliments, which was great. So he was the last guy to hand out a medal or belt at the end of the fight night. So it was
Can I mention
go
one
ahead. You're
thing?
Still on Fiction and
Johnny
Fact.
Charles won?
Well, the eighth wonder of the world is how Mike Shook got that beautiful girl that he got. Mike Shook, you did well for yourself. But also the 141-pound weight class for in this area, you got Hugo Garcia, you got Johnny Spells, you got Amani Everhart, and you got Daniel Buckley, all at 141 pounds. I'll put those guys up against anybody in the country in that weight class.
Right, and since we were holding off on boxing,
sorry about that.
We'll get back to that. Sorry.
That's why I was trying to hold back with that, but you tossed out a few
Chip is
people.
ready, man. Chip is ready for this.
Ready?
I'm ready.
He's on overtime right now. Chip the Prophet Hayner. What do you have for Chip's trivia time?
Well, I'm going to try to give you some interesting fun facts about baseball, and depends on how well my phone works as to how much of it we're gonna get to hear.
Modern technology with the chipper. Stephanie, thanks for keeping them going here.
The first bit of a fun fact, and I don't know if many of us that are hearing our show, I know some of the old timers like myself and Alan. Remember a guy named Jimmy Pearsall.
Yes.
Jimmy Pearsall ultimately was probably better known for being a broadcaster for the Chicago White Sox, but he was also a major league player of some note, and he was quite eccentric. And they say he was eccentric, to say the least. His life became the basis for a book and a movie, Fear Strikes Out. Some of Pearsall's stunts included walking up to bat wearing a Beatles wig, talking to the monument of Babe Ruth at Yankee Stadium, and climbing a grandstand roof to heckle an umpire. But the granddaddy of all his stunts occurred while playing for the Mets. In the fifth inning of a game against the Phillies, he hit his 100th career home run. Wow. And promptly ran the bases in correct order, just facing backwards. Needless to say, his manager, Casey Stengel, was not amused, and Pearsall was quickly given the pink slip. Okay, so this is.
How's your phone working now?
They got free Wi-Fi around here or something. Help me get these. But
well, we're like in a shelter here. It's like a bomb shelter.
Yeah,
the walls are 18 feet thick.
It took a while to get through there.
And I'm giving you a little dramatic pause. We're also locked in here, so
yeah, I know we can't do anything about that. So. Another interesting little bit of useless information, something that happened by one of the underachieving Pittsburgh Pirates this year. Garrett Jones became the first man in Major League Baseball history to hit the ball into the Allegheny River and into McCovey's Cove in San Francisco in the same baseball season. He accomplished both those feats here. I witnessed one when the Pirates were playing the Reds this past summer on a Sunday afternoon game. It was kind of impressive because the ball just missed crowning a gentleman that was riding along the Riverwalk on his bicycle. Has missed his head by inches. But it landed in the river. And, that's about all I've got for the trivia tonight because I should have printed off. Let me tell you something. Don't trust these things. Print it off, read it off the paper. You get more information that way. Go on.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to post that on Pittsburgh Sportsline on Facebook because I didn't get a chance when I was leaving the house. Chip, I saw it, and I didn't get a chance.
On my Facebook page.
Yeah.
And
I'll help broadcast
in my section, I want to make a announcement about one other thing, and I should have done this at the beginning of the show. But we all do some fundraising activities for worthy causes, and my wife and I have gotten behind the walk to end Alzheimer's. It's a walk that's going to be on October the 5th, and the walk starts at Heinz Field, 9 o'clock. I believe it's on a Saturday morning, and this is a cause that's really near and dear to me. My mother had dementia and Alzheimer's, and she's passed, and we're starting a team in honor of my mother. The team's called Team Gina Bell. But we are accepting donations for the Alzheimer's Foundation. I've got a link on my Facebook page. If you go to Chip Hader at Facebook.com, any donation anybody wants to make would be greatly accepted. And if you even want to register and join our team and walk with us, you're welcome too. But go to Facebook.com, go to my webpage, Chip Hader at Facebook, and please donate to a worthy cause.
I believe in it. I've donated for years. My mother passed away in 1988 due to complications of Alzheimer's at 55 years old. So, people didn't even realize what Alzheimer's was at that time. If people as young as 29 have passed away and had complications with Alzheimer's, it's not just the older folks who get it. So it's a great cause, Chip. I'm all in with you, so appreciate it, and anybody that can help. All right, let's go. Wait, that boxing moved right up. I was going to throw Tiger. We'll talk boxing. Let's go boxing here. You already heard a little bit of it. Smoking Jim has the program. Little Z, I interrupted him again, and he held off.
He's got a big announcement, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. There's a little drum roll coming. Zach Brenner, what's your announcement?
October 12th, we're going Lightning and Striking Green Tree for the second time. Lightning Rod Salka, number 15 in the world, is getting back into the ring on October 12th. It starts at 3:30. So we got Jason Bergman fighting for a belt. Rod's going to fight for a belt. And Sammy Vasquez is going to fight. So this is going to be one of the better pro fights so far of 2013. So that's the big announcement. You heard it right here first.
Nice. Thanks for alerting us. All
Where
good
in
guys.
Green Tree is the fight? This fight's going to be held.
It's at the Green Tree Sports Complex. I'll give you the exact address first.
It's the old racket club.
It's at 600 Iron City Drive, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 15205. Green Tree Sports Complex.
That's right up by the Parkway?
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
right
right off of the Parkway. If you're heading into Pittsburgh, it's on the left. If you're heading out towards the airport, it's on the right. It's easy to find. That's right where I grew up. So make sure you go out there. We'll have a lot of fun there that night.
Yeah, Rod's NABA title is going to be on the line. He's fighting for an Intercontinental title. Jason Bergman's fighting for an Intercontinental title. And Sammy Vasquez is fighting, not for a title, but he's fighting a real tough guy named Bruce in an 8-round matchup.
By the way, the fights the other night, wasn't young Johnny Spells, didn't he have a fight against somebody? Or
Yes.
And how did he do in that fight?
Smoking Jim's going to give you the blow-by-blow with that on this champion that fought Hugo.
Yeah, he fought
Garcia.
a champion, Hugo Garcia. Boy, did he look good in his outfit. And us at ringside, Jimmy Savetic was at ringside with me, and L. Levine was in the crowd. And with a microphone.
Not by choice.
And I really thought Johnny Spells won all 3 rounds. And Little Z even made a comment on the mic afterwards that he thought that Johnny Spells got robbed as well. But nothing taken away from Garcia. Excellent fighter. Like I said, I think that Johnny Spells, Hugo Garcia, who's a national champion, and Amonte Everhart, or 3 outstanding 141-pounders. I think the best one out there, though, is Daniel Buckley. in about a
And
year.
a shout out to Dan Buckley Sr. He watches the show all the time. He's with me with the Steelers at 11-5, so just so you know.
I'm not ever betting against the Spells guy, man.
Dan,
Even
are you?
little JJ, he just keeps coming forward, man. Little JJ just keeps coming forward. Like, get him, JJ, get him.
It was a heck of a fight, Chip.
Do you think he's gonna, maybe he's gonna meet this Hugo Garcia again, and you think the outcome will be different?
Well, I think they fight in two different. I don't think Hugo fights in the Golden Gloves. I think he fights in Fitness USA. Yeah, he's only 16. I was surprised. I didn't know that.
Right.
So Hugo he has about another.
So they'll see each other when they become pros, huh?
Yeah. Well, I think Hugo fights in boxing, USA Boxing.
Yes,
and,
that's where he's the champion.
And the champion, and Johnny fights in the Golden Gloves.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that when Johnny fights him in a USA sanctioned event like he did, he'll get robbed. And when Hugo fights Johnny in the Golden Glove sanctioned event, he'll get robbed.
Johnny Spells will fight grown men. Hugo is not ready to fight grown men like Johnny Spells is. Johnny Spells will fight grown men. Why let a kid win the title that can't even defend it? That's what I didn't understand. Like, that's what I was.
He got robbed.
Maybe there'll be a rematch.
But it's like I told Big Mike Shook, don't let it go to the scorecard. Handle your business. Don't take it so lightly. Get in there, handle your business, and the strangers can't deny you anything.
And there's an up-and-coming coach, trainer of boxers right there, folks. Zach Brenner.
Yeah.
He's telling you how it is. You know, we talked to Rayco War Saunders again. Same type of logic there. You know, it's just these circumstances happen when you go out of town, let alone in town. Who knows what they're watching? Mike Manna, one of my favorite fighters. I was in the ring, you know, I hate to say somebody's losing or whatever. It's too close to call. Well, it was too close to call.
Yeah.
Mike sent me a Facebook message. It was one punch difference. That's how he lost, by one punch.
I like how you said silverback. I was laughing.
Well, no, they got special requests, buddy. If they ask for a nickname out there, we had guys in Newcastle, Smoking Jim. They want us to travel to Newcastle.
I can't wait.
We didn't mention Erin Ward, the job that she did.
Yes, she did.
Filming.
Yes, she did.
It was so hot in there. She carried equipment. Well, I brought some of it up, but she carried it in, carried it out while I was talking, of course. Erin, great job. We'll see you next week, I'm sure.
And thanks for the food, too. It was good. Thank you.
So,
it only
how about the local sports teams?
It was a lot better.
A lot going on.
Yeah, well, we still got to mention a couple boxers because did you mention the Brick? You said you were going to mention the Brick.
Oh man, who can not mention the Brick?
We got to get
JLT Brackett, the Brick. He fought for more than just his pride was on the line Saturday night. Literally, no, I'm not. I'm being serious. I'm not being funny there because this guy, he lost to him 2 previous times. Al Levine said this kid was real tough. I didn't think he was so tough, but JT the Brick got in there and handled his business, and now he has 3 belts. So you could say whatever you want about the man's pride. He gets in there and handles business, and that's why I like guys like that, and they like me, like because that's what we're all about. And Manna got robbed. Johnny Spells got robbed. I mean, I never saw, we weren't getting any hometown decisions. Like, it didn't matter. So maybe you go to Sharpsburg, man, it's fair.
JT the Brick's going to advocate his belts, right?
Abdicate. he's abdicating his belts. He's going to vacate the championships that he won. There'll be 3 belts. I got a chance to hold him, but he took all that hardware back off of me. What happened with that? Watch our show when it's posted up there, folks. There's a lot of fun. We covered a lot of boxing. We got other sports. Chip, pick one, buddy. What sport would you like to talk about? This is your season. Come on now. Let's not hold back.
The biggest news in town today is the Pirates have made some moves. And, once again, Neil Huntington has been doing his homework. And he's not mortgaging the future, but he is letting people know that he's in it to win now.
In it to win it.
And the Pirates made a big trade today, and they really didn't give up anything for it. The player that they gave up as a single-A shortstop, I believe his name is Herrera, and he was batting .265 in single-A. And there was some cash considerations involved, and then there's the always famous player to be named later involved in a trade. But we picked up Marlon Byrd, who's been playing right field for the Mets this year. The guy's 35 years old, and he is a rental player, and we really didn't give up anything for him, but he's having a pretty nice season. He's got 21 home runs, Zach mentioned earlier. 71 RBIs, and that's a far cry better than anybody else that's been playing right field for the Pirates. And they also picked up another catcher, because right now I can tell you this: if something were to happen to Russell Martin, the Pirates would have been in very dire straits. They picked up another guy who's in the minor leagues that really isn't impressing anybody, but Buck is a veteran catcher. He can fill in. I guess Tony Sanchez hasn't really been tearing the cover off the ball, and hasn't really been, he's working well with, I believe he's been catching Liriano the last few times that he's pitched. Russell Martin seems to always catch A.J. Burnett. But, these moves were prompted by the fact that Starling Marte had to be put on the 15-day disabled list. He's got a bruised hand. The guy's been hit by pitches more than anybody in the major leagues. He just refuses to get out of the way of the ball, which, with his kind of speed, putting him on the base,
that's two
bases, but he's got a bruised hand, and, obviously if you can't grip the bat tightly, you're not going to be very effective at the plate. So, now this gives the Pirates weakness at the left corner, weakness at the right corner. They called up Andrew Lambeau, and, he's got some, he's been quite impressive in the minor leagues, but from AAA to the major leagues, it's the difference between night and day. And to be honest with you, anybody that's been playing right field for the Pirates this year has underperformed, and the person more so than anybody else is Garrett Jones. And I'm a big Garrett Jones supporter. I love the guy. The Garrett Jones of last year would have showed up this year, I would probably have a 5-game lead over the Cardinals right now. But, right now, there's 32 games left in the season tonight, starting with tonight's game. We're half a game out of first place. We are in a pennant race. And for most of you 20-something people that have never witnessed this happening, sit back. The next 5 weeks are going to be great. Enjoy it. This is what we've been clamoring for, and and it's going to be a roller coaster ride, and it's going to be ups and downs, and and I have a feeling it's probably going to come down to the last game of the season before the Pirates wrap up the Central Division title, and I do believe that they're going to do that. I also heard rumors that there's somebody else that the Pirates are looking at. Now, this is a guy he's already cleared waivers, and he's been playing for the Minnesota Twins, and at one point he was an MVP candidate as Justin. Or was it Morneau? Yeah, Morneau. He's a first baseman, and it's interesting that they're going to try to pick him up again. This will be a rental player, and I think the only thing that is holding up them getting him now, it's not the money. The money doesn't seem to be a problem. Bob Nutting is showing it. He's opening up his bank book. And he's putting out the money. It's what do they have to give up to get him?
You should have a war chest by now. All the money he's
but see, the money is the other consideration.
1 month. It's only 1 month of salary. So a $7 million contract's 1 point something.
Yeah. So the money is not the issue. But what are you going to do for that 1 month? And this guy has been, he gets hot and he gets cold. And when he's hot, he's very good. And when he gets cold, he gets colder and nice. So which one are you going to get? Because he's had 3 months out of this season where he's batted in the neighborhood of 200. Well, that's what we've got going on.
He'll fit right in.
Ray Sherrill pulled the trigger, and it worked out the 1 year, and it blew up this year in our faces like hand grenades. So hopefully, Neil Huntington swooped in there at the right time and saw that there was a fire sale going on in New York.
The move had to be made when you think about it.
But they're still not spending any real money, though.
But
you're allowed to be disgruntled, buddy. Enjoy the ride.
Spending money does not mean that you're going to win games. Take a look at the Los Angeles Angels, okay? They've got a $250 million payroll for this year, and they're 13 or 14 games out of first place. So, they don't even have a chance of making the playoffs. Spending money, it's what they have done with the organization since 2007. They have built the organization up so that we are in a position to win now and win moving forward. Our farm system's stacked. We've homegrown some of our own talent. Now, I'll tell you what the next big move is going to have to be. They're going to have to find a way to sign Pedro Alvarez and keep him in Pittsburgh because we've only got
$15 million a year.
He's got 3 more years, and each year he's going to be up for arbitration. So that means that the Pirates will make an offer, and he'll make an offer, and the arbitrator will pick somewhere in between the two of them. But
so they're going to go through that for 3 years straight.
Potentially,
they don't know. We don't know. Now his agent is Scott Boras, and Scott Boras has always done this with his players: go to free agency,
and get.
But you know what? If the Pirates find a way to lock him up long time, that right there will be the biggest statement that Bob Nutting can make about whether or not he wants to
Scott
spend
Boras
money.
isn't going to give us a hometown discount. So get ready for
Zach,
3 years
you know
of
what?
arbitration.
I have,
and I don't care.
and
Like,
if
you
we
got
only
a
have him for
contract.
3 years, if we only have him for
If
3
he
more
plays
years,
bad, if he plays awful, it stinks to join up. Does he give money back?
No.
no, it's not.
Of
the way it
course
works.
not. Of course not. So every year, like now that he's somewhat good now, and we're somewhat good now. Now he's gonna break us by the coals.
So then, what you're saying is, it wouldn't make sense to pay somebody a lot of money because if they, if they stink, then you're being a fool for spending your money that way. See, it's a risk. It's a risk and reward kind of a thing.
Yeah, but now what about? Let's talk about AJ Burnett. He's done after this year, and you know what kind of money he's gonna command on the open market? He's going to be commanding like 14, 13 million.
Yeah, well,
a season.
you know what?
It's not worth it.
Yeah, right, but you know what? We may not need him next year because we've got other pitchers in our minor league system that can take his place.
McDonald will be back.
No, McDonald's not coming back.
Jameson Tyon.
He's working at McDonald's right now.
Jameson Tyon will be pitching for the Pirates next year. You can count on that.
You heard it first. That's why this is Chip the Prophet Hainer.
But that's what I mean, Zach. There are going to be
Yankees money or Angels money, but I mean,
but understand,
making moves.
There are people playing on this team now that are going to help us win this year that we're not going to be able to afford to keep because you know what? There are teams out there that will outbid us, and that's just the nature of baseball. But we've got people in our system now that we can move up, and the way to build a market in a small market is by doing that. You're going to keep people. You're going to sign them early. You're going to get them 6 or 7 years out of them. Once you're done with that 6 or 7 years, you better have somebody in place to replace
How many years has Alvarez been on the team?
Well, this is his third.
So
so he's got 3 more years.
That's only like
he's only in the
second
third
full,
year
it's
of
only
his
his
contract.
second full contract.
Okay.
Well, my favorite team is Los Angeles Dodgers. Boy, they're doing some great stuff for Magic Johnson.
And I'm going to tell you something. The Los Angeles Dodgers are absolutely the hottest team in baseball right now. They have the absolute highest winning percentage in baseball, and they've got a legitimate, probably the National League Cy Young Award winner, hands down. Clayton Kershaw is pitching lights out. They've got a former Cy Young winner in Zach Greinke. So they've got two. Yasiel Puig, who came up at the right about the beginning of May, right at the beginning of June, has been the missing ingredient for the Dodgers. And the funny thing is the Dodgers have a legitimate MVP candidate, an annual MVP candidate, Matt Kemp, who hasn't played this year.
Wow.
So I mean, that's pretty amazing. And what was it? And I think was it either May or June? They were talking about firing Don Mattingly and running him out of baseball. Now look what he's got. Now look what he's done with the team.
But they were a clear-cut case of overspending. They were getting overzealous and spending high-ass money.
And the guy that turned their team around is getting paid the major league
new ownership.
Salary.
New ownership.
Yeah, well, that was because the guy was getting divorced and had to sell the team, and his life fell apart.
But that's kind of
baseball moves on.
That's kind of the Pirates in a nutshell. Now we got the Steelers.
You're reading off my segment.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Everybody, even the experts, the NFL from the NFL Network and stuff, they're still expecting the Steelers to do much better. And everybody says, "Oh, don't worry, it's the preseason. It's the preseason. It's the preseason." If I hear that again, I'm going to vomit.
It's the preseason.
Because let me tell you
the
something.
Same guy that tells you how many games are away from a championship.
I'm a fan.
Now,
16 games away.
Let me make my
And
point.
they made 8.
Let me
Go
make
ahead,
my
Chip.
point.
Go ahead.
It is the preseason, and in the preseason you are supposed to practice, and you are supposed to make mistakes and learn from them. And I'm seeing the same mistakes that we saw being made last year, being made in the first game, the second game, and the third game, and there's no accountability for these guys. And the same mistakes keep happening. Everybody says, well, I heard Brett Kiesel say this tonight. I almost spit my dinner out of my mouth. He says, he goes, hopefully we'll start winning some of these games when the regular season starts. Hopefully? Hopefully? You should be trying to win now.
Every week the special teams is giving up a block kick or a block punt. Now, in Jarvis Jones' credit, he recovered the block.
That's why I went to the hospital.
Yeah, he recovered that fumble, but he's the one that gave up he missed the block. The guy, his man, blocked the kick, and none of the announcers said that.
I was telling you guys from the start that they were practicing minimally on special teams, and they had guys that haven't tackled since high school.
Yes, you were.
You said it.
And
You did
it's
say
been a
it.
clear-cut problem, but we got bigger problems than that too. Who's playing tight end? That's a problem. Who's playing running back? That's a problem. You have all these high draft picks in the offensive line, and all they can do is barely minimally run block because they can't pass block for snot. I'm convinced that I might be able to hold somebody up a little bit longer than a couple of these guys, especially Mike Adams. And he's supposed to protect Ben's blind side.
Are you on Smoking Jim's side? Because he said those guys are
But
soft.
and I think
Soft
the thing
as
that
a
gives
double
the
chocolate
Steelers a
cupcake.
chance to win this year, the thing that gives a chance is number 7. And watching
As
the
long as number 7
watching the
is
game Saturday night, Ben was sharp.
Yeah.
Okay, he was running the offense, and then he made that touchdown pass that he threw to Dwyer. That's a play that only Ben Roethlisberger makes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He just has that magic ability to avoid people. He's got this sixth sense that he senses a rusher. Okay. Jonathan Dwyer was completely unimpressive. The thing I was impressed with was Cortez Allen. He came in after having knee surgery in early camp. He was sticking people. He was covering. Troy Polamalu was playing like I haven't seen Troy Polamalu play in several
Don't play
years.
him anymore, please.
That's what I'm saying.
Real weights now.
Yeah.
Well, Troy looks like if he can stay
As
healthy
opposed to the
this
unreal
year,
weights.
he could be a legitimate candidate for NFL Player of the Year again. Troy is just a very unique athlete, and the Steelers need him to stay healthy. And you think with Troy, Ryan Clark, Ike Taylor on the corner, and Cortez Allen, that secondary, I could be okay with that secondary.
There's a glimmer of hope, Chip.
The linebacking corps is suspect, and the defensive line is suspect as well.
Well, we're winding down, Chip. You know how passionate we are about it, and I won't mention preseason again. We're going to end this with closing remarks. I'm going to miss little Z. We're going to try to fill his seat, but it's going to be hard because he went through a grueling audition period.
May have Erica sitting in that seat.
Oh, you had to tip him off.
My fault.
Little Z, what do you want to close with here? You got a lot of fans out there, and they're starting.
Hopefully the fans have spoken, like the tribe has spoken, and I'll be back here a little bit before Thanksgiving. But hopefully the Steelers bring it a lot better than they've been bringing it, and Mike Tomlin gets a little fire lit under his hiney and starts to coach a little bit better because we still don't know how good of a coach Mike Tomlin truly is. And that's right, you heard it right here. We don't know how good of a coach Mike
Thanks,
Tomlin
little
truly
Z.
is. So
Z, I
just
love
want to
that.
thank everybody, all the interns, Devin Shea, Aaron Ward, Al Levine, Chip Hayner, Smoking Jim Frazier, Dave Cable, everybody at BPTV.
And Chris Satter, who's right on the camera here.
Chris on the camera, John in the control room as well. I just want to give a shout out to all those guys. It's been really a great run. It's been real special, and I hope to see you guys before Thanksgiving.
You'll see him Monday nights, folks,
I'll
not
still
on
see you
Labor
guys
Day.
on
He'll be
Monday.
out. You're not leaving us. All right, Smoking Jim, what else you got on the agenda?
Well, I got a sucker bet, $100. The guy bet me that Jarvis Jones would get 10 sacks, and I think
in preseason.
And you mean in his career?
Yeah, in his entire career. So I'll be banking that money. It's supposed to go to charity, but charity starts at home. And but just one quick thing about Jarvis Jones. I've never seen, these guys got to get tougher. I've never seen somebody get life-flighted to a hospital because they got the wind knocked out of them. Get a little tougher, Jarvis.
All right, we got it. Chip, got about 10 seconds, buddy. Go ahead. Get him a shout out for anything. Alzheimer's. Donate there.
You got the Let's Go Bucks. I mean, we got the Brewers down at PNC Park. I'll be there tomorrow, Thursday, and
I'll be
Saturday
there
night.
tomorrow too.
And all-you-can-eat seats is where you're going to find me with my feed bag on.
And my daughter will be there on Saturday night with friends, so enjoy the game. Have a great Labor Day. Be safe out there. Enjoy sports. Go Buccos. Go Steelers. It is preseason. Sorry, Chip. Thanks for watching the show. We appreciate you.